And good afternoon. It actually is. Good afternoon. December 28th. Always got to take a look at that. Got to take a look to see what day of the week it is. But it's December 28th. It is a Tuesday, the final Tuesday of this year, the final week of this year. What are we doing with this year? Well, what we're doing with this year is hopefully ending it on a positive note. That would be a nice thing to do. You know, COVID is making it a challenge again. Just saw another township that was going to have an event. They canceled their New Year's Eve thing. It's just really a shame, or it's really a smart thing. I guess somewhat of that depends upon where you want to go with that. You know, yes, it is a smart move. Yeah, because it adds to the safety, and that's what these towns are all about, right? You know, there's all kinds of rules, restrictions, and things like that that we have to abide by in order to make it a safer place. Right? Speed limits, parking restrictions, whatever. In this case, COVID issues. The shame of it is the other side of that coin. We'll look at the business aspect of it. Is like, all those businesses that we're looking forward to, people coming down for New Year's Eve. And then all of a sudden it's like, you know, the big draw is not going to be there. Will they still come? Yeah, hopefully they do. Hopefully they absolutely do. But it just changes it. Be nice also to see the weather good. That would be nice. And I remember I actually saw the ball drop in New York City. It was decades ago. It was so cold. We were all huddled together, so it wasn't that bad. But it was so cold. And you got to want, well, you know, again, this was years ago. Everybody was down there. There was so many people, so much business activity taking place too. God, different world. Now all of a sudden you're corralled, you get out of line, you can't go any place. I don't know, changes it around quite a bit. But then again, COVID again. I mean, these parades and stuff like that. Oh, they kind of still happen, but it's different. Could imagine the Thanksgiving Day parade, right? So many people showing up. Even the marathon, right? I ran the New York Marathon a couple of times. You know, my joke on running the marathon was that, you know what really hurt me when I finished? My hand. Why my hand? Because I slapped everybody's hand all the way down the run. All the way down the run. My hand hurt more than my legs. Kind of the truth, you know. But all those people that showed up, all those people that bought knishes, pretzels, stopped over at those restaurants, diners, grabbed a cocktail someplace. All those people that all that kind of food, I'm sitting there running. Oh man, it's tough. It's just tough. I tell you, one little marathon story there, and we'll move on to something else here about this inspired by thing. Tell you, I was inspired by the marathon, not by the elite runners, but it was by those folks that finished in 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours, going doing that thing. Well, the last time I ran it, which was 7 years ago, I think it was. Last time I ran that marathon, I went and I wanted to really, truly enjoy it. So I did. Brought the camera with me and stuff like that. Took photos, even did a podcast through it too. So it's up there. It's up there someplace. One of the things I remember though is running through Brooklyn. And it was, I don't remember exactly what section of Brooklyn it was, but it was something around 11 o'clock or so. And all those restaurants were getting their ovens fired up, getting all that food prepared. And oh, man, it smelled so good. It smelled so good. And when I heard about the street fairs getting canceled, kind of canceled, at least, for New Year's Eve, and all those people that don't show up at these places New Year's Eve, just reminds me of those smells. Those restaurants, the street carts, everything that goes along with it. It's like those people have suffered so much. Those business owners, the employees, the cooks, the cleaners, the waiters, the waitresses, with all of this stuff. It's like, man, just a hard thing. It's a hard thing. Yeah, maybe in 2022, our New Year's resolution should be we all should go out to eat more often, or bring in food more often. Do that aspect of it. Get all those restaurants back in the game again. That would be nice to see that happen. There's so many that are closed, so many small businesses that are closed, even chain places that are also kind of cutting down on their locations. We're buying more and more stuff online. It all hurts that way. And then there are people. Then there are people that have adapted so darn well to every situation, and you gotta love those folks. Hey, man, I've seen it all over the place with different kinds of situations. These are the inspired by people, inspired by folks that have gotten themselves into trouble, legal trouble, financial trouble, stuff like that. Different kinds of addictions and stuff like that. And they've come out on the other side and they just do it unbelievable. Man, that's a group of people to be inspired by. Not that initial case. No, let's not get crazy there. We definitely want to be a little bit realistic here, but it says those that work through the different problems and come out on the other side and then have gone on to do some unbelievable things. That's great. That is really great. Those restaurants, those small businesses, forget the chain stuff, man. It's just more about money and the way they do stuff there. But those small businesses that are hung in there, that have just done whatever they can. They put up those tents outside so people get to eat outside, right? Oh, gave up parking spots so they could do that. Great that those towns that they're located in were able to change the ordinances around that allowed them to do that. That's great. And where the weather hung together, that was great. It really was. And some of these towns, the ones that I'm thinking of that canceled, for their New Year's festivities, they created different, when it was better, they've opened up the streets and they plan on opening up the streets more and more and making it car-free days where people can go out and enjoy and visit these restaurants and eat outside. Like, going to Paris. It's the dining on the sidewalks, people watching, just great stuff. That is great. I hope this spring and summer brings that out again. I hope so. COVID away. Forget it. Just do that. Make these towns, these downtown areas much more walkable. Great stuff. We'll go out there and support it a little bit more. But those businesses that have hung in there, that have gone from dining in places to dining out places, with takeout food, which have gone into, they now deliver. They've enhanced what they can do on their website so people could order online. And there was one guy I know that had an Italian restaurant and he was preparing meals. I think you buy 10 meals, it's $50. You put them in those, metal tins. And they're mostly cooked. Not even all the way cooked, but mostly cooked. This way you can bring them home, you freeze them, and then you cook them. You're not just heating them up, but you're doing that final cook so they're like as fresh as possibly can be. That's unbelievable. This guy too, also, he had an issue with COVID. I think it was his wife that actually got COVID. But what he did is he closed the restaurant down for a week, and then he brought a cleaning company in. And then he announced afterwards why he closed the restaurant. And he talked about the fact that there was a family member, but again, I believe it was his wife, that had gotten COVID. And then he wanted to do a full clean on the restaurant. And he didn't just hide behind it. He just stood up. He stood up, he stood out, he stood in front of his place of business. Same guy that did those $5 meals too, by the way. stood up in front of his business with the camera, the video camera, and he interviewed the guys that came, the company that came to clean his place, and he told the whole story. Was that crazy? Was that nuts? Talking about the problems that he had, that obstacle that he had? Or was that the greatest thing in the world, talking about how he overcame that obstacle? That's integrity, man. That is flat out integrity. That's a great thing. I think that's a great thing. That's inspired by. And there's so many things that we get inspired by and that we want to share and go and do. And that's actually where I got started with, today's thought process over here. Inspired by, and the other side is copyright stuff. It's like, you want to share, and I've shared different things that have gone on. Are they other people's properties? Yeah, but I give them full credit. So is that taking information, or is that inspired by? I see that as inspired by. You read all kinds of business books, and then you develop your own plan. Are you taking their ideas, or are you inspired by and making them your own? When you're doing your New Year's resolutions, when you're speaking to those folks that are your accountability partners, that are your friends, your family members, your business associates, your referral partners, maybe your partners, legal partners, true business partners. Are you taking their ideas and using their ideas? Or are you inspired by their ideas? I think you're inspired by their ideas. Just got to give them credit. Give credit where credit is due. And man, that really becomes it. And that's one of the greatest things. Kathleen, good morning to you out in San Diego. So it's still morning. Hope you're enjoying the weather over there. We've got, everything from rain, sleet. Now the sun's out. It's warm. Who knows? San Diego, beautiful weather. Cold ocean water, though. At least our ocean water warms up a little bit. But you got some inspiring people down there, too. Those Navy SEALs that do their thing. Wow, inspired by. But you give those people credit, and those are the people that kind of push you along, help you along, propel you to what it is that you could be and should be doing. That's great stuff. That's the kind of people that you need to surround you with. Those are the ones that keep you moving. That's what I hope to continue to do over here with doing this program. And on those days where it's a little bit more of a challenging to go and do, especially since I haven't had any guests on forever, it seems it's like some days like, today a little bit late. It's like, oh, do I really want to do it? And the answer is not really. I was like, what are we going to talk about? Well, I have one of these videos. I got, one of my on YouTube got shot down because it was a copyright issue. I don't really get that, man. It was a TEDx talk. The whole idea behind the TED Talks, the TEDx talk, is to share that. Played the thing in its entirety. I wonder if I let the video run a little too long. Maybe it was a commercial got tossed in over there that I couldn't do. But again, what's the difference if I run a commercial for somebody else? I'm not taking from it, not benefiting from it in any which way. So I don't know. But I know I want to stick on more of the inspired by. Definitely not getting into an issue with taking somebody else's stuff. But these guests that you'll eventually be introduced to, the ones that I've had on in years past when I was doing the Blog Talk radio show, that's inspired by, man. It's being inspired by their story, what they've been able to achieve, what they've been able to accomplish. It's really been amazing. And so many of them have been through various obstacles. Some smaller obstacles, some bigger obstacles. Some are like, oh my gosh, I don't know how in the world you did that. But they did do that. And they did continue on and make that happen. And I've absolutely been blessed with getting to know some of these folks. Personally, I've met some personally. Most I have not met personally. Just, they all over the place, all over the world, that kind of thing. So don't get a chance to meet them. Don't get a chance to meet them in person. I did get a chance to meet them. It was audio when I was doing the podcast, through Blog Talk Radio. Now I get a chance to meet people on the video. Makes it a little bit nicer to go and do. Does that mean I've virtually met them? That's why I don't like that word. We got to change that. We digitally met them. We didn't virtually meet. We digitally met. I really met you. I really met those people. I only spoke to them by phone, but I really met them. Wasn't anything other than that. Just really met them. Don't shortchange this video thing. Don't shortchange that at all. The podcast you listen to, the podcast you listen to, the conference calls that you're on, they're just as real as sitting in the same room. And sometimes I think they're just so much better. So much better than sitting in a conference room or meeting someplace where there's no personality to the room. There's not of your personality that you get to push forward as you're doing things. Look, this really is my room. It's not a green screen room or anything like that. This is really it. If I met you at a restaurant someplace, or I met you in a conference room someplace, it's a generic place. You get to learn a little bit more about me based on the room and the background, and I get to learn a little bit more about you based on that. Maybe even inspired by you and what you have done or what you've got behind you, if you got trophies or plaques and stuff like that. There was one gentleman I spoke to a while ago who wanted to start doing his own podcast. He gives professional advice. So we were talking about how to set up the room. And we talked about the lighting and all the rest of that kind of stuff. And I had asked him, I said, what's on the wall? He was going to use a solid wall behind him. I said, what do you have on the wall? He said, nothing. I said, why don't you put something over there? Like what? A couple of plaques or a trophy or something like that. And he's like, well, nobody could read it. I was like, well, it doesn't really matter. They can't read it. Look, I got that banner back there. I'm sure you really can't read that, but it was something I participated in. If there was trophies back there, you would know that I got trophies for something. Maybe not know what, but something that might inspire you to ask a question. Maybe it adds to your credibility as you're doing something. So that's why I think this side of it, is just keep going. Find those people that are surrounding you, whether it be a restaurant owner, a small shop owner, a friend, family member, somebody that's been through a challenge, somebody that's just gone on to achieve great things, and then take a look at those things that they've achieved and say, hey, why did I do this? What was the reason behind it? Maybe you'll even be inspired by that. It was a program I was listening to. It was one of those Facebook videos, real video. They were interviewing people in different situations. And this one had to do with how they look at money. How do they look at money? And they were interviewing people that were very successful. In other words, made a lot of money. And then they were interviewing others that were homeless and had no real money. And the question was, what was the difference between the two? One of the guys that was successful turned around and said, you know what? It's just a matter of attitude. And it is also a matter of finding the opportunities in order to do that. I tend to think the attitude finds the opportunities and go that route. But people do need to know about the opportunities that are in front of them to help those attitudes along the way. Which comes first? Maybe that depends upon situations, stuff like that. But, it is there. That's something to be inspired by, that story. But we're also another story that I found to be surprising, we'll say. And it was from another gentleman that was talking about success. And his comment was, after I've earned more than I need to sustain myself, more than I need for those necessities of life and things like that, he goes, it doesn't matter. It really didn't matter. He wasn't doing it, for the money anymore. The money didn't mean anything to him. Now, you tell that homeless person that money doesn't mean anything, they're going to have quite a different attitude with that one. But earning money for the sake of earning money is not really it either. Earning money to pay your bills, earning money to live the lifestyle that you want, earning money to find that you have your needs and wants kind of covered. Then after that, what do you do? His thought on that one was that he wanted to, I use the word give back. It's not so much as give back. He wanted to inspire other people. He wanted to share. He wanted to make sure that other people saw those opportunities that are possible in front of them. That's inspiration, my friends. That's really amazing. When somebody could turn around and say, I got all the money and I got all the rest of that kind of stuff, but it's not really it. It's not what fulfills that person. What fulfills that person is helping other people find their own fulfillment. That's unbelievable. That's inspirational. Those are the people you want to be around. And look, I got a feeling that if you take that homeless person and you turn them into a success, they're going to have that same attitude. They're going to want to show, hey, if I did it, you could do it too. And that stands so true with so many of the folks that have been through all kinds of challenges. All kinds of challenges. And that was the greatest part about meeting so many of them along the way. It just makes you really take a look at some of the things that we bellyache about. Self included. Another one of these look in the mirror moments. I should probably get a mirror. It's like, this is my look in the mirror moments. All those things that I bellyache about, which are crap. It's really crap, as they go, because there could be worse. There could be other situations. It's maybe minor in comparison to some of the stuff. Some of the stuff, some of the stuff is a little bit more meaningful than others, but it's there. That comes from, it's just there. It's just, you deal with those things as it comes up. Yeah, nobody's perfect. I definitely don't fall into that category. But it is amazing what those people have done. Now, I think it's interesting, too. One gentleman he went from, gentlemen, let's talk about this story. A guy that actually wrote inside of his book. I should get that book and share it with you. I'd like to get him back on over here to interview him again to see how he's doing. But he grew up in Stockton, California, poor as can be. Bad family, no family. Probably wouldn't have been better off with no family. It was a bad family situation. His book's called, Prison to, it was a prison pipeline, school to prison, and that kind of thing. But it was like terrible. And he did bad things, without doubt. He did some bad things. And I was like, oh, but he changed so much. Comes an inspiration to another guy this guy lives in Chicago, at least used to live in Chicago, also went through all kinds of problems, and he got himself together and he changed it, and then he's got some honorary degrees from colleges, became a very big speaker and that kind of a thing. Big question he puts out over there is, how bad do you want it? What a simple question. Maybe it's not that simple of an answer. What sacrifices do you want to make along the way? What an inspiration he is. He was able to do. So many others. So many historical figures along the way. We're going through this holiday season right now, too. What's the basis for many of these holidays? Somebody did something that was spectacular. A miracle. Some group of people survived through some horrendous thing and came out on the other side. Somebody somewhere is celebrating a culture and how the culture has continued to advance and continue to improve. Inspirational, without a doubt. Inspirational. It's all around, all over the place. Negative side of things, it's just so easy. Too easy sometimes to get mired in the crap that's going on. Just so much negativity that's happening there. And so many of the ways that we're dealing with things just hurt so many people, including something as simple as canceling an outdoor New Year's Eve thing. So many businesses get hurt by that. What are you going to do? Look at the long term. Turn it around. Make it into a positive somehow. Understand that tomorrow will be a better day. Got to have the faith. Got to keep going. Got to have the right attitude. Got to find the resources to do. Got to find whatever it is. Maybe figure out a way to help people do their home parties for New Year's Eve and make it work that way. Make something happen. But people get hurt. It's so tough. So tough. You turn on the news, most of the news is so negative, and I don't care which way you believe. One way or the other. Because the other side is a bunch of morons, right? No matter what your side is, the other side is a bunch of morons. Hey, now that's really helpful. This is so bad because that person said this. This is so bad because that person says that. Go fill in the blanks as to what side you're listening to. Terrible. What's going on around the world in these countries? Oh my gosh, terrible. Do we pay attention to it? Probably should. If we do, oh, it's so negative. What do we do about that? How do we fix this whole stuff? How do we fix all of these things? I'm looking in the comments. I'm waiting for somebody to answer. How do we fix all these things? I don't know. I don't know. And maybe Harry Chapin's got it right. Charity does begin at home. It does begin at home. It starts right in your own house. Filters out into your neighborhood. Filters out into your business circle. Filters out into some of the other neighborhoods that are surrounding you. Filters out into your community. That's where it's at. That is where it's at. So those people are helping their community grow and expand and helping other communities along the way. That's inspirational. And if you're taking somebody else's idea and making it work for you, making it work for that group and giving that person credit, hey, you know something? That's a good copyright issue. That really is. If you're benefiting from somebody else's products, services, whatever, not giving them credit, well, that's bad. That is flat out bad. But we should be sharing ideas. We should be inspiring each other. We should be creating these mastermind groups. We should be creating these think tanks. We should be talking more and more about how to help people, communities, countries, groups. Common thread. Common thread. It's communication skills, isn't it? Being able to talk, being able to share an idea, and having somebody else actually listen. Listen to the idea, not listen to speak, because then they're just waiting for you to pause and go blah blah, spit out their own idea. That's not really it. It's listening to discuss. It's listening to the other person's thought process, and then having that give and take talk about it. And yes, I miss the point on those things a lot too. Another man in the mirror moment. That's a song by somebody. So it's another mirror moment. We'll give credit to that person for that one. Man in the mirror. But communication skills is it. Listening skills is kind of going to be the basis of that whole thing. So let's see. Where's our actionable ideas here? One is that we get ourselves comfortable with the path that we're on, first and foremost. And we're going to practice listening skills, listening to people's ideas, who we're going to be inspired by, listening to their thoughts, how they've achieved it, how they've done what they've done, how they have gotten through whatever that situation is, because we are never alone. There's always somebody with something similar to you. Yours is unique, but there's somebody similar to it. We get inspired by that person. We continue to move ourselves forward. Then we continue to move our family, friends, business associates, community surrounding us, and maybe, just maybe, we can move countries forward. Maybe get this whole world actually working well together. Wouldn't that be a thought? And maybe then I could hold up that mirror again and say, you know what? Not that I need to practice my listening skills and stuff like that, but there was something I had announced years ago. And maybe, just maybe, if we all really truly did work together, that would come true. And that was a video that I did. Ain't no problem playing that one. Did it with some friends. The Mastermind Group. Unbelievable. We announced world peace. Still waiting for that to come true. Maybe, just maybe, 2022 will bring us world peace? I hope so. And simply stated, maybe it just starts with us practicing our listening skills so we can all come up with better ideas to move all of us forward as we speak well, speak often, and live inspired.